I put that on upside down, which I'd be able to swap out if I had the right Allen key. This week, we're back on the Jeep. We have some shiny new parts. We've got some shiny old parts. But it's one of the last major pieces I need for the LS swapped Grand Cherokee. What we've got is a new process 261 HD transfer case that needs a rebuild, but it'll fit my Jeep. And this was hard to find because Chevy put auto track transfer cases in pretty much everything after 2001. Starting in 2001, the 4L80 got a 32 spline. So finding a manual transfer case with a 32 spline input shaft has been a nightmare. It's taken me almost 2 years to find one because the wreckers here wanted way too much money for one. We've also got this, which came with the transfer case. This is a Merchant Automotive pump repair kit. There's a little spring in there. Your pump will start rubbing through the case. This stops that from running all the way through. But you'll see that the back half of this case is a lot newer. It's because this case had already rubbed through. So it was easier and cheaper for me to just get a new back half. This one's aluminum, so if I ever have a problem, you can weld it. The stock cases are magnesium. You can't. Maybe you can weld it, but no one I could find would touch the thing. So, and that seems to be pretty standard most places. So what we're going to do is we're going to recondition this thing today. New bearings, new seals, new chain, the pump repair kit, and we're going to find out if I'm missing any parts. I'm pretty sure I've got everything now, but these things do happen. So that's what we're doing. Let's get straight into the good stuff. All right, guys, so I spent some time off camera, got all the parts cleaned, spent some time, got the surface rust off them. So I think we're ready to start reassembly, which means this part needs to go away for a little bit. First things first, we gotta put a new bearing on there, new bearing on there, and new bearing on there. All right, guys, so we need to put some new bearings on stuff before we get on with reassembly. So your input shaft and front output shaft both take a 60-10 bearing. And these two bearings are the ones that are especially bad on mine. Your rear output bearing is a 6208. Make sure you get one with the groove cut in it because this is actually quite important. It sets the whole shaft depth in the assembly, and if it's wrong, your range fork won't work. So, all right, so turns out this one's actually quite easy to get off. I just made a puller out of some puller parts that I had kicking around. Oh, hey, that's kind of fun. Anyways, and I'm just winding it off my hand. This is, it's coming off super easy. Thought I was gonna need an impact. Turns out, not so much. Boop. And off it comes. All right, for this one, your front output shaft bearing, come on.
A few minutes later.
There it goes. All right, so we got two 60-10 bearings. Garbage. Got a new one. Okay, so we just got a chunk of nylon here. Okay, so I got the bearings done. Oddly enough, the name brand bearing's the worst feeling one here. Would not have called that. All right, so it's time to start reassembly. First steps first. First thing that's got to go in here is your selector plate and selector shaft. Kind of only fits in there one way, so then I'm just screwing in the detent that lights up the four-wheel drives. So I'm just using Dex 3 ATF as my assembly lube because that's what the transfer case is supposed to run. So we've got the planetary in there. Now I put in the range fork, and I do have a new range fork selector. Then we'll just drop that in there. There you go. Okay, now we got the selector shaft in. Make sure when you assemble this, there's a little kind of S-shaped groove cut into your selector plate. The range selector has a little nub on the back side right here. Has to slot into that plate. If you don't, it won't work. Now that we've got that in there, all right, so range fork goes on there like this. Make sure the knob here is at the bottom. You slide it onto the shift fork. Okay, so now you might be wondering, well, how's this go up and down? Well, there's kind of one critical component. There's a spring that goes there. You need to make sure this is on here. Otherwise, your shift fork for your four-wheel drive will not return. Make sure you don't forget the snap ring. All right, so we got the new O-ring in there. You just push in with your finger. It's not that hard. It's part number QU30025 from, and I got it from Torque King. It was quite good to deal with. They also sold me this, the new pickup tube. Now, the pickup tube made for this transfer case, the part number is not available anymore. But this one is for 261 or 263. It's part number QU30394. Now it's time for this, the new chain. There we go. Pull this off. Slide the new chain. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so that is easier with the snap ring off. Maybe you could do it without it, but I decided to just give up and do it this way. And just a little tap, snap rings back in there. All right, so now it's time for the shiny parts. So to do this though, I gotta do a little disassembly because this sits here. So pop this snap ring off. See if I can get it first try. Nope.
One eternity later.
All right, so this is the Merchant Automotive oil pump plate. You'll notice it kind of looks the same as this plate. That's because it's a replacement for it, which I'd be able to swap out if I had the right Allen key. First step, pull the old pump plate off. These are just T15 screws. All right, so we got pump plate off. I don't see any too bad scoring. No, there's no scoring there. Feels nice and smooth. That's good. These are your pump gears. It's a gerotor pump. If you don't know what it is, look it up. They're kind of... Put some more ATF on there. And then we'll just drop the outside into the plate. Okay, now we got the gerotor pump gears in there. You just put your pump plate on there. And we just line up a little triangle in that port. And just twist it till the screw holes are lined up. All right, so we got our pump plate installed on there. What it does is it raises up these ledges, or whatever you want to call them, so that it's basically all it does is it increases the surface area so it doesn't wear through one part of the transfer case. So this combined with the aluminum back half should solve any future problems. So then all you do is you slide back on there, get the splines lined up. Slide your pump tube back in there, the bearing. There we go, bearing's on there. Snap ring goes on. Now we just put on our gray RTV. All right, all we got left now is to put new seals in. And 1 second. All right, now we just put in the output shaft seal. Keep going.
In.
Nope, not yet. You gotta hit it on this side. Keep going.
That sounds seated to me, man.
Okay, now that that's working. Okay, we should be in 4 right now, which we are.
Yeah.
That's 4 1-to-1. Now this should be 2. Look at that.
Wow.
This should be neutral. And this should be 4 low.
Well, she's spicy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the reason this happened is there's that shift spring that I mentioned earlier in the video. Yeah, I forgot to put it back in. It fell out when I had to do the one thing, and then it just sat in there. So it's a really good thing I tested it, because otherwise the spring would have just been bouncing around in the transfer case. Always check your work before you put it in. And if something's wrong,
Spit on it.
I was going to go with take it apart again, but yeah, okay, let's go with that.
Just spit on it. It'll be fine, probably.
Anyways, now we have a transfer case that will work and mean I can use the factory shifter again.
Very good.
Yay! Now the only thing I have to find out is if the output and shaft splines are the same. That's for another day though, when it's not pissing rain.
Yeah, that's future you problem.
Yeah, that's future me problem. Anyway, so that's how you rebuild one of these. This is your 4-wheel drive light button detent. Your speedo goes there. In the dual speedo versions, there's another one that goes there. Fill it to the fill port when you put it back in. That's about it. That's all there is to them. So now we have not only a repaired and rebuilt, but an upgraded NP261. So, yeah. Anyways, we have other things we got to do today, so I'm going to leave this video off here. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope this helps.